Hello everybody and welcome to Tutorial Tuesday this week. Welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise Cox, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Trail, British Columbia, Canada. And today I am here to share with you a scary cute card. So if you follow along on my blog, you'll know that this week my product of the week is featuring the Scary Cute bundle from the July to December annual catalog. So Halloween is coming, and with the nights being cooler and cozier, it's a great time to be inside doing some spooky Halloween crafting. So I've got a really fun card to share with you today, and I'm really excited. So hopefully you will join me live. Let's say hello, or if you're catching the replay, say hello then too, and hashtag replay, and I will check it all out. And yeah, hi Tina. Okay, so a couple of things before we get started. I do want to just remind everybody that the end of the month is like literally around the corner. We have what? Friday is the last day of the month, so weekly deals end tomorrow. So if there's anything in those weekly deals that you've been eyeing up, be sure to check them out and get your order placed by tomorrow. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm actually going to flip my camera down to do this, so just bear with me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was paper pumpkin. So the paper pumpkin for Halloween just came out in September, and it was so adorable, you guys. It was super cute. Little gift bag boxes, which I'm going to be creating and sharing on my blog. But what I wanted to talk about was the next two. So for October and November, we have two Christmas kits coming. They coordinate with one another, which is super cool. And the first one is cards. The second one is tags. So if you're looking for some quick and easy Christmas crafting, these kits are for you. So you can subscribe by October. Subscribe by October 10th and start your subscription, and you'll get these two. If you live local and you'd like to just pick your kit up from me, then just message me and let me know. Here in British Columbia, the kits come to $36.40 total with shipping and taxes. Depending on your tax, they'll be slightly different in whatever province you're in. So, any questions about paper pumpkin, let me know. I'm always happy to help. Okay, so let me see what else we got going on. So we're going to share a card today created with this super cute, scary cute bundle. I love this. So on Monday, I shared a card on my blog that I cased the idea from this card, although mine came out completely different. But I like some of the elements in here, so I went with it. Now today, we're going to go something that I've come up with all on my own that I thought was really fun to create. So I've got all the pieces here. As usual, I will try and give you the measurements as we go. But I will upload this to my YouTube channel and to my blog, and everything will be there for you. So don't worry if you miss something. It's all going to be available after. Okay, so we're going to start with a smoky slate card base. And this measures just a regular base, so 8.5 by 5.5. And I've scored it at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and burnish that. Let's set that off to the side. The next thing I've got is a basic white insert for the middle of our card. So this is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then I'm going to have to get my ruler because I've already forgotten. So 3.5 by 4 3/4 is what this smoky slate piece is. Hi Kathy, thank you for joining us. And then this one is going to be just an 1/8 of an inch bigger. So this is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, and then I've got a scrap piece of white for some stamping. And this paper comes from the Celebrate Everything Hostess kit, or not kit, Hostess collection that can be found at the back of the July to December catalog. So if you host a party throughout, well, till the end of December, you can choose to spend your host rewards and get this awesome pack of paper. So these are two of the patterns in there. And then this little haunted house is my favorite thing about the Scary Cute bundle. So that I cut out of basic black from these fun dies. So these are the scary silhouette dies right here. You can see we've got a haunted house, we've got a arched back cat, we've got a frame, and if you want, you can cut the frame out with these trees in it, so you end up with a hollow center. We've got some bats, lots of bats, and then we've got a fun little banner, which I used on my card on Monday as well. So these are really, really fun. Okay, so let's start creating our card. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to also be using this awesome tree right here from the Beauty of Friendship stamp set. And the only color of ink that we're going to be using is black. And our color is going to come from our Crushed Curry cardstock and designer paper. So first thing, I'm going to just stamp up this lovely tree. And I'm going to stamp it once here. And then once a little bit lower down. So I love layering the trees like this. Just by moving the stamp, you can get kind of a dimensioned look. And then we'll stamp one more over here. Okay, and I don't like to leave my inside of the card plain. So I'm also going to stamp a tree inside there while I've got my stamp out. Okay, so that's the trees. The next thing I'm going to do is take the bats. Let me just see what I can find here. So these cute little bats are from the Scary Cute stamp set. I know bats are cute, I don't know, but I think this stamp is really fun. Adorable might not be the right description, but okay. So there we have our bats, and let's stamp some in the inside of our card too. Okay, so we've got our bats. Now, this piece here just measures 3/4 of an inch, okay? And it's longer than we need because I want to be able to just trim some of it off. So we'll just adhere this across here. Like so. And then we're going to take some scissors. And you guys, I was so excited. Yesterday, my order came with my brand new paper snips. They are so nice and sharp. It's amazing how much difference new pair of scissors makes. They were back ordered, or not back ordered. They were sold out for a really long time. I was so excited when they came back. Okay, so we've got this started. Now, I want to use some of this washi tape. Have you guys seen this sparkly washi tape? It comes as a group of 4, so you get all 4 colors, being Gorgeous Grape, Old Olive, Pumpkin Pie, and Basic Black. So I'm going to use the black, and I'm just going to create a little bit of sparkle and interest by putting it straight across here, across my stripes. Okay. I'll just tuck those corners in behind just like that. All right, so now that that's done, let's go ahead. We're going to adhere this to our Crushed Curry cardstock base. Okay. Like that. And I love how that little border of Crushed Curry just ties everything together with these stripes here. All right, so then here's our card that we created, the Smoky Slate, right? And again, I want to just put some of this designer paper along the bottom. The reason I didn't cut it is because sometimes if it's off just a smidge, you can see some of the cardstock from on the edges and it drives me crazy. So to avoid that, we just cut it longer and we'll trim it off. So I'm just putting some adhesive on the back, and I'm going to attach that right to the edge of my card base, and then we'll turn it over and we'll just trim this stuff off. right. Okay, then we'll go ahead and attach this piece here on top of our card base. And then we'll get to add some of the stamped images from the Scary Cute bundle. Okay, so it's coming together. It's coming together. Here's our haunted house. And I hope you guys all know that Stampin' Up! Has black dimensionals, which is perfect when you're doing using it on black cardstock like we are here. When you purchase these from the catalog, the price is slightly more, and I'm drawing a blank how much they are, but they're a little bit more than the regular ones. But that's because you get 2 sheets of the full-size dimensionals and 2 sheets of the minis all in one kit. So it's a great way to get both. And then we have these black dimensionals that you don't see when you've got your black image attached. So I'm just going to put this haunted house right here. I'm lining the bottom of it up with the top of my designer paper. Just bumping that up right there. Okay. Now I want to add some of the cute little characters from the start. Scary Cute. So these guys are all in a row. That's one stamp, Trick or Treating. And then we've got 3 characters that are silhouettes that are all roughly the same size. And then we've got one down here who's just a little bit smaller. Now, if you're like me, sometimes you can look at a stamp set and see beyond what its purpose is. So how fun would it be to create a little tooth fairy card or a fairy card for a birthday or something? It doesn't have to be Halloween. You could make this little one pink or purple or whatever color. You could heat emboss it in white on a colored cardstock. And then rather than this being a haunted house, you could cut it out in white or pink or purple, and it could be a castle. So don't be focused on the fact that something is has to be what it's used for. So this does not have to just be used for Halloween. Same with this guy down here. It could be a Christmas card, right? A little, maybe it's a caroler walking home with his lamp post. So always try and think beyond what the stamp is intended for, and you'll be surprised what other options you can come up with. So let's go ahead and finish the insert of our card before we stamp. Ooh, I just want to stamp. I'm getting black ink all over my fingers and in turn getting it all over my project, but that's okay. So I'm just going to have this little guy in the corner, and you can see all my inky fingerprints. Oops. That's what happens. I re-inked my, oh my goodness, look at that. They're getting all over. That's what happens when you re-ink your ink pad. So after I created the sample card for this yesterday, I realized my Memento ink needed to be re-inked. So I did that, but now I appear to be getting it everywhere. So that's okay. For the front of our card, we're going to stamp all 3 of these guys here. Okay, so I've got them all mounted onto one block because I want to just be able to stamp them once and cut them out. So I'm going to actually just move this closer because I realized we do need to stamp our greeting still on there. So I've just moved them a bit closer. And we'll take this nice and juicy Memento ink pad and just make sure these images are really nice and inked up. And then we'll go ahead and stamp them right here. They're adorable, right? So cute. So then the next thing that I did to create my card was that I fussy cut these images out. And it was really easy. I didn't get too crazy. I just left a bit of a, too fussy, sorry. I left a bit of a white border around them. But I've gone ahead and done these ahead of time for the video so that you didn't have to watch me fussy cut. So again, I want to use my black dimensionals. This time I'm using the full-size ones. And I'm just going to put 2, I'm just going to put 2 on the back of each of these little trick-or-treaters. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear my puppies in the background. Sounds like they're wrestling with a toy. I can hear a little bit of growl playing. Okay, so now we've got the little fairy, tooth fairy. Hi, Sherry. So we'll have her over here in front of this tree. And then lastly, we have this cute little Frankenstein guy. And we'll just put him at the front of the line. And walking like Frankenstein would be. So fun. All right, so now I want to add some greetings, right? I'm going to add Halloween happiness. And what I'm going to do is just stamp that again using my memento. You can see how juicy that is. It's ink's piling up inside my stamps. Okay, maybe I got a little carried away with the re-inking yesterday. So we'll just go ahead and stamp this down here. And then I want to trim this. So I want to have two separate pieces. So I'm just going to use my scissors, my nice new sharp scissors. And then we're just going to cut. So this is not going to be perfectly straight, which is fine for me. If you like it to be perfectly straight, then by all means have your paper trimmer handy and you can just trim it up however you like. So I'm just going to trim these a little bit. I do want some white space on either end. So we got Halloween and then happiness. We'll just trim that like that. Now, because this is cut apart, I can then situate it however I want. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but y'all, I got these little marks here. Got a little bit of over inking. So what I'm going to do is make sure that my happiness covers those spots. So again, I'll use my black dimensionals. Now for this one, you could use white because it's on white paper. But because everything else on here is dark, I don't really want the dimensionals to be sticking out. So here we go. We're just going to attach those. Again, I'm making sure that those are covered up. So it's a good way if you do have any bloopers when you're creating, always think about that. What can you use to cover it up? Okay. So I've just got 3 little dimensionals on the back of my Halloween. And we'll just kind of, can be however you want it. So there we've got our Halloween happiness. And the last thing that I want to do is add a little bit of sparkle to match our washi tape down here. So I do have some basic rhinestones. And I use these all the time. They are my go-to embellishment because with the magic of just a stamping blend, an alcohol marker, we can change the color of them. So I'm just going to quickly color these and make them black sparklies. And then I'm going to use my take a pick tool and just add some of these sparkles to my card. I think I might need one more. I think maybe I want to have a few extras here. So I'm going to put one down here. Well, that's good. So there we have it. We've got some nice sparkle to our card. So we've got the washi tape here that's nice and sparkly, and we've got some colored rhinestones up here. And so again, what we use tonight, this afternoon, is the Scary Cute bundle, which is this stamp set with these fabulous dies here. Okay, now these are so cute, like I mentioned earlier. And then we also use the tree here from Beauty of Friendship. So there is our fun Halloween card that we've created today. Thank you for joining me. I am going to just pop back on and Say hello again. There we go. I'm loving that my cameras are finally working. I didn't even do anything, but last week they worked, and this week I had my fingers crossed and all was good again. So it's great. So thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this scary cute little Halloween card. And I'd love to see in the comments, do you create Halloween cards? And if you do, how many do you make? Because I think I've got to make about a dozen this year. So I'm going to be using all 3 of the Halloween stamp sets from the current catalog because I love them all. I love the colors and the characters. It's just so much fun. So, and it's just one more reason to send a little bit of fun happy mail, right? Okay, so remember please that the weekly deals end tomorrow. So if there's anything there that you want, head on over and take a peek. Make sure you don't miss out. And then October starts a brand new Stampin' Up year. So that's when their year starts. And I do think there's some really great promotion coming. So yeah, so stay tuned for October. Now, we are heading out on a little bit of a vacation on Friday. We're going to go over and see our son in Saskatchewan. Our youngest son is over there. So I will still have my laptop and I'll still be doing my posting and stuff like that. Depending on his Wi-Fi signal where he is, whether or not I'll be live next Tuesday. But I will keep you posted on that. Okay? So everybody, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I hope you have a really good evening and enjoy the rest of your week.